Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and I was always told how to voice radio, so today I'm going to be showing you a deck that I absolutely adore, that made top 32 at the recent Collinsville Regional. Now, this is important, because Collinsville, Illinois recently had a regional this past weekend with over 1,000 players. This, ladies and gentlemen, was a very, very large regional, which meant that you had to be a very, very good player with a very, very good deck and have a very, very good day in order to get top 32 and to get yourself into day 2 of competition. Ladies and gentlemen, he did it with Raichu GX and Pachirisu, which I absolutely love. This deck made top 32 at a huge regional, which means it might actually be legit, and this makes me utterly, utterly delighted. Now, 2 main cards here. We'll start off with Raichu GX. Raichu GX, it's got a weakness to Buzzwole. Let's get this out there right now. And not just Buzzwole, all of these other fighting Pokemon like Lycanroc. And with Zoroark being the best Pokemon in the format at the moment and absolutely owning tournaments left, right and centre, people are playing fighting decks to counter Zoroark, which means they will also be countering Raichu, because Raichu is weak to fighting. Now, the main attack here is Powerful Spark. 20 damage times the amount of lightning energy attached to your Pokemon, that's all of your Pokemon, plus 20 base damage. It's basically Darkrai, which ironically is also weak to fighting. And this is a good attack if you can get enough energy on the field. You get enough energy on the field, you do lots of damage, life is good. You need a way to get that energy out. We'll talk about this deck has ways to get the energy out. Now, the other attack you've got here, Thunder for 160 for free energy. Now, this is actually pretty good, because I mentioned the Buzzwole problem a moment ago. Buzzwole is a little bit of an issue for Raichu, but having said that, you whack a Choice Band on Raichu, you're then hitting for 190 straight away. Now, you do 30 damage to yourself, but if you're taking 2 prizes, it's not too bad, you can live with that. And now you're doing 190, and you're actually getting a one-hit KO on a Buzzwole. That, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty gosh darn nice. Now, we do have a GX attack here as well, Voltail GX, 120 damage plus automatic paralysis. But to be perfectly honest with you, the amount of Guzma we've got in the format at the moment and the amount of Ace Roller makes this a pretty bad GX attack. The vast majority of the time, your opponent is just going to have an easy way around it, and you've used your GX attack to do 120 for free energy, which isn't great. Good news is we've got a better GX attack, more on that in a minute. The other main Pokemon we've got here is Pachirisu. Pachirisu is a wonderful new Pokemon from Ultra Prism, with maybe the best named attack in the history of the Pokemon trading card game, and I don't say that lightly. Snuggly Generator. 1 lightning energy for each of your bench Pokemon that has the Nuzzle attack. Search your deck for a lightning energy card and attach it to that Pokemon, and then shuffle your deck. So in theory, you could get up to 5 extra energy in play in 1 turn, attaching from your deck with Snuggly Generator. And of course, if you've got extra Pachirisu on the bench, you can attach energy to them using Snuggly Generator, and then they will still mean that Raichu does an extra 20, because that will be an extra energy on the field. That's pretty gosh darn good. Now, you're unlikely to use Nuzzle on this Pachirisu, but Nuzzle is still important because, like I've said, it means that Pachirisu gets an extra energy. Now, this does mean you have to use the 60 HP Pikachu from Generations, because that's the Pikachu that has Nuzzle. That's very important. There is a 70 HP Pikachu, which a lot of the time might seem better, but you can't play that one because it doesn't have Nuzzle. It kind of defeats the point of the deck. Now, the other main Pokemon here is Circuitry GX, and this is your GX attack. Lightning GX, your opponent reveals their hand, you choose a card from their hand and put it down as an extra prize. Firstly, it means you get to choose a card from their hand and get rid of it, means you're disrupting them. Maybe you find their only supporter and then they have nothing for a few turns, gives you a few turns to set up. And just like the old Darkrai deck, if you get enough energy on the field with this deck, you will win, because you just one-hit KO anything. And even though it's 2 energy and you're not actually playing double colorless energy here, of course you use Snuggly Generator. That gets 1 energy on the Pikachu, so that when you evolve, you only need 1 more energy to start absolutely smashing with Raichu. Now, you do also have the ability Flashing Head on Circuitry here, which does give you immunity in terms of damage from any Pokemon with special energy attached, and obviously at the moment we've got stuff like Zoroark that loves double colorless, and the aforementioned Buzzwole that absolutely loves strong energy. Even if you don't stop your opponent here, you might force them into using a regular fighting rather than a strong energy, and that's pretty good. That's very nice. It hurts your opponent, but sometimes they might have already attached all the special energy, and then you can wall them. And then the other Pokemon here you're playing are just Tapu Lele and Oranguru, because they give consistency. Tapu Lele searches for any of your supporters, Oranguru draws until you've got 3 cards in hand. Now, there are a couple of other options that Robert could have played here but chose not to. Tapu Koko GX is always a fun one here. Firstly, it's got a really good GX attack, 50 damage for each energy your opponent has in play. That adds up quite quickly, gives you a good GX attack, certainly better than Raichu's, and the ability when you bench it, you can move a whole bunch of energy over to it, get it rolling nice and quickly, which is quite handy, of course, because you should have a whole bunch of energy littering the field, so you can move some energy over to Tapu Koko. And then, of course, you've always got the promo Tapu Koko, free retreat, 20 damage to all of your opponent's Pokemon. You get the idea by now. Robert chose not to play Tapu Koko GX. He's gone for pure consistency. You can't blame him, but I did want to mention it as an option. Now, in terms of energy here, 14 energy. We need to play a lot of energy, because you want to do a lot of damage with Raichu. Oh, yeah! And also, you want lots of energy in there for Snuggly Generator. And as we look at the trainers here, we're not going to go through every single trainer, though I will show you the full list in a minute, but we got to give a shout out to Max Elixir here. Max Elixir with 14 basic energy, you should hit at least 3, if not 4 of these, although kind of like Xerneas decks using Geomancy, the more often you use Snuggly Generator, the fewer energy you're going to have in deck, so the less likely you actually are to hit your energy off of your Max Elixir. But any deck that is this reliant on getting a whole bunch of energy into play, you absolutely need to be playing for Max Elixir here. The other thing I find very interesting about this deck, and as I've said, I think we're going to see this more and more as we go through in this format, we see 4 copies of Cynthia, 3 copies of N, and 2 copies of Professor Sycamore. Once again, we are looking at a deck that wants to play shuffle draw cards where you preserve your resources rather than N, which discards, so you might not get them back. You might lose too many of your energy and not have them in your deck, whereas if you shuffle the energy back into your deck, in comes Max Elixir. We saw this with Adam Hawkins' winning deck with Weavile Zoroark that we looked at a couple days ago. I think we're going to keep seeing this as we go through into the new format. I think Cynthia's going to overtake Professor Sycamore even before we get into rotation. And honestly, we're seeing quite a bit of that at the moment. And then we just see a whole bunch of stuff we expect. Couple of Guzma, because you need to be able to drag bench Pokemon into the active to KO them. Couple of Bridget, because you need to be able to get all your basics out and set up early. Especially here, having 3 Nuzzle Pokemon on the bench, great for Snuggly Generator. Really quite handy. Ultra Ball because it's the best Pokemon search card we've got. Field Blower to get rid of tools. Switch to switch your active Pokemon. Super Rod to recover your Pokemon. Choice Band to do extra damage. And weirdly here, we see one copy of Palpad. Not a particularly widely played card, but a very good one nonetheless. Palpad we just saw coming back legal with Ultra Prism. You get to shuffle a couple of supporters back into your deck. That means you can reuse Guzma later on in the game, or reuse Cynthia. It's great, and again, with Versus Seeker having rotated a while ago, I see this only seeing more play as we go through. I absolutely adore this deck. I really wanted it to be good. I wanted it to see success. I'm hoping this is a start of a trend. Maybe this was one good player with one good list at a tournament where he hit a couple of good matchups. I, for one, hope that is not the case, and I'm going to be tracking this deck as we go forward. But if you want something that is neither Boswell nor Zoroark to have a go with and take to tournaments and give a bit of a test, ladies and gentlemen, might I suggest Raichu. But as with all of these, ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. Make sure you tell me all about this deck. Do you think it's good going forward? I'd love to hear your opinions. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and so on, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, which is where that happens. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.